So here's the story. Last time we talked about picking decks for our sort of deck draft of what decks we wanted. And I looked at the four decks available. We can bring them up FF6, 7, 8, and 9, levels 4 and 5. And I thought, looking at the level 4s, I thought, let's widen the window, actually. Can I do that? Let's see. Yeah, we did it. Oh, I'm great at this. Okay. If you look at the FF6s, pretty good level 4s. 3674 and 7236, as well as 4276 are obviously all really good level 4s. 4474 sometimes is good. Others not so much, but and 2726 is pretty decent. You're gonna use 2726 is interesting. Okay. You're gonna use two level 4s in your hand, and this gives you ample tools on level 4. If we look at FF7's level 4s, your best is like 7164 in a general sense, but you might not want a horizontal or vertical type for your hand. This one a vertical. I call them horoverts, but side side, up down. So 6731 or 2167, pretty terrible. FF7 really weak on level 4s. FF8 we have 2367, 2763. And for Hori Verts, we have 4627 and 6273. There's also a case for 7444 or 7316, but those are a bit weaker. But that's at least three really good, or at least two really good level 4s. You only need two level 4s. Maybe not those as a great pair, but because they both have that 2 facing up, but powerful level. FF9 has 3672, 1764, and 6147. It has three really good corners, though two of them are redundant. But again, you only need two level 4s. It also has 3726. So basically, I concluded all of these are pretty good, except FF7, which is terrible. And there might be margins between the others. Like FF8 might be the next weakest. Maybe not, though. There's a lot of optionality. But FF7 seemed the big drop off. You look at level 5s. FF6 has 6637, and has a bunch of cards you could play 7645, 6734. I mean, these are cards you can play. But as we saw, FF6 has 3674 on level 4, 6734 on level 5 does not seem very impressive. 6266 also might have some use. FF7, you get 2667 and 6763, both really powerful cards and with some synergy with each other. FF8, you get 6267 and 6627 and 6267. And the supporting cast, not great, but like 4674 is fine to run, or like 5376. And then FF9, you get 6367, 2676, 6736, and some other stuff that's non-terrible, like 1766 or 4467. All in all, I think FF9 is the most powerful deck available. I thought FF8 was number 2, so I picked FF8 and FF9, and then the next day I received a message from Turd saying he had sent in his picks as well. I said, well, I suspect we picked the same things. He sort of said something a little coy in response. I said, you pick FF8 and 9? He went, did you pick FF8 and 9? I went, yeah, of course I picked FF8 and 9. You did too, right? And he went, nope. And I went, okay, so what are we gonna be coin flipping for who gets which deck? And he said, no coin flips needed, because Turds picked FF6 and FF7, which is very strange to me. But he did give me some key information that we're now going to use against him, because we, hard not to. I made it very clear I picked FF8 and 9 because I thought they had the most powerful cards. But he did something really interesting. He did this differently than I did. Instead of just kind of looking through and judging the cards, he built a hand, like a quick hand for each pair. There are 6 permutations total, right? There's FF6 plus 7, 6, 8, 6, 9, that's 3, 7, 8, 7, 9 is 4, 5, and 8, 9 is 6. There are 6 permutations, so he built 6 hands, and he looked at the hands, and his favorite was his FF6, 7 hand. Now, it's possible that still makes 6, 7 the wrong pick, because it could be the case that, like, there's no way I'm going to pick FF6, right? But if I now pick 7, 8, or 7, 9, you're going to be coin flipping for whether you get 7, and maybe 6 is a really bad pair with anything other than 7. So there's still some risk to going with the hand you thought was best. But I think he went with a really interesting different strategy where I sort of went, where's the highest pure power? And he went, where can I make a hand I want to run? And I kind of like his strategy a little more. But I also think we can do something to take advantage of it, which is what we're going to do here is we're going to try to build his hand. Because if there's kind of a clear hand for him to run, and there's a very good chance there is a clear hand for him to run, because FF6 is really clearly the worst at level 5s, and FF7 is the worst at level 4s, that gives him a lot fewer options than he would have in decks with more general power. And so if we assume he is leaning towards higher general power, then we have some information about what hand he could make, because there's not a lot of choices here, right? If he wants to pick the most powerful level 5s, then there's a pretty clear 3 on these FF6 and 7 decks. I have spent a little time thinking about this, not too much. I sent a few messages to my alliance, Delial, just starting to think about the rule set and what I think's important on it. But these 3 cards seem really likely to me. Their power level is just much higher than the power level of the other cards available. Now, it's possible I'm not fully understanding what happens when same is taken away. For instance, Dalamar thought that FF7 and FF9 would be chosen here. That would be the desirable pair because 6763 and 6367 are in general basically the best level 5s, and having the pair is super dominant. But without same, the pair is actually really clunky. They're actually really bad at recapturing or setting each other up because it's so reliant on sames, right? How is the 6 going to take a 6? It needs to be facing a 5, not a 7, right? Because there's no same, there's a plus. And it would need a 9 on the other side for the 3 to get it, and that doesn't exist. They're actually really clunky together. We have to keep stuff like this in mind. That kind of these 6/6/7s are actually just going to be really tricky to take without sames unless the plus walls line up. So there's definitely other directions he could go here, but they all seem like concessions to me. 6266 is probably the most appealing of the other options, but I do think without same in effect, 7s are harder to take. I think 7s are actually going to be kind of tricky to take. Like, if you look at his 3 cards right now, like, these are 3 very powerful cards. They can take 7s up or down on the left side, and they can take some 7s down on the right if it's in the middle row. But if you think about kind of each possible 7/6 corner, note 7/7s are not allowed, a 7/6 corner in 1, they can take a 7 facing down, but not a 7 to the right. In 3, they cannot take either 7. In 7, they can take a 7 up, but not to the right. And in 9, they can take a 7 to the left, but not a 7 up. Now, a lot of that will be covered by his remaining cards, but it is to say, like, 7s are kind of tricky to take. He also does not have 7s in all directions, so it is not a guarantee yet that he can take 6s, but I think his last 2 cards will give him 7s in the remaining directions, and he won't be too worried about that. But 6266 would be saying, here's another card that doesn't have a 7 on it. And I'm not sure what you'd cut for it. Probably 6637, actually. You have a lot of 6s facing up, and 2667 is going to play pretty well there. But I think these 3 cards are really likely. So let's look at level 4. And we should be starting picking his hand, because if we can narrow down his hand, we can figure out what our threats and targets are going to be. Now, to me, it just seems really likely the last 2 cards are these 2. We know the hand has to have kind of clicked well enough that he looked at it and thought, this is just better than other options. And these are the kind of cards that click that way, right? You have this opposite pair. Opposite pair's not as good without same on, but I think still pretty decent here. The 4 takes the 2, the 6/2 takes the 6. It gives you 7s in the last 2 remaining directions. Seems a better fit directionally to me than like 4-2-7-6 instead of 3-6-7-4. Where else are you getting a 7 down? It's 3, 6, 7, 4, 4, 4, 7, 4, 4, 2, 7, 6. Like 3, 6, 7, 4 is almost level 5 power. You know, there was a 7, 6, 4, 3 level 5 power. So this seems really likely to me as the fourth card. And then, like, you need a 7 up. 7, 1, 6, 4 is possible, but, like, it's got to be 7, 2, 3, 6, right? I just think this is so likely to be Turds' hand. And thus, I should be trying to figure out a counter hand to this hand. Something that works in general. Are there anything they need to delete that are up here? No. I like to keep my finals hands that worked and some other hands I just enjoy using. So what we're going to do is when we build a hand here, we're going to look at how it matches up with this. And we should also think about what does this have trouble taking. So let's put 7s facing out from each corner. We know he has a 7 each direction, so he can definitely take 6s. But I should look at two things. One is, does he have an overload of specific numbers in any direction? Because then maybe if we, say he has, like, just to give a different example, say someone's hand has lots of, like, 10s facing down, right? If you start at the top of the board and keep the game facing up, anytime they play below those cards at the top of the board, they're likely to have a 10 facing down, and if you can combo 10s facing down, you can punish it. And similarly here, I want to look at kind of, if they're really consistent in a direction, and I can exploit that, I should be looking to play at the other end of the board such that those numbers have to be facing out. So, those are the two things I want to look for counter hands. Because if we can figure out some numbers, we can get a lot of incidental combos on, that's great. And if we can figure out what does this have trouble taking, that's great. I should also be thinking about where it starts. Okay, so we have kind of three things to be considering. And I've already forgotten what some of them are, but let's look at what it can take. From 1, a 7 down, it can take happily. A 7 to the right, it cannot take. So 7's right and 1 are appealing. So 7's right have some value. Let's go to 7 next, just because that has 7's to the right as well. 7's to the right and 7 are covered by 7, 2, 3, 6, and 7's facing up are covered. Okay? In 3, 7's facing to the left are covered by 3, 6, 7, 4, and 7's facing down are not covered. So we have 1 to the right and 3 facing down. In 9, 7's facing to the left are covered, and 7's facing up are not. So up, down, and right might have some value. Left is less likely to. Okay, I'm going to make a note to myself. My only note I left for myself already is remember no same. Said no S, but let's fill it out. No same. So second note is X7, YZ. No, I should just say 7 right in 1. 7 down in 3. 7 up in 9. Okay, that's our second note. Our third note, do they have lots of redundant numbers? Going up, they're 7, 6, 6, 3, 2. Maybe, I mean, they do have more 6s going up than anywhere else. Than any other number. So anything that can take advantage, we're going to say 2 6s up. Now, to the right, they have 7, 6, 6, 6, 2. So that's 3 6s to the right. That's very interesting. That's a lot of their hand. Going down, 2 6s down. They also have 2 3s down, but it's hard to have a game plan for 3s. It's impossible for us to plus wall it. So, maybe we exploit 3s by setting up well, but that's just going to be as the cards play. And to the left, they have 2 7s to the left. And 4 3 2. Yeah. Okay. So our First note is remember no same. Our second note is which starter potential corners they might have trouble taking. And our third note is where they have redundancies, specifically the 3 6s to the right seems most potentially exploitable. Maybe means I want to start on the left, especially if I have some way to pick up those 6s, which I definitely do have. Okay, so a third thing to think about as we think about these counter hands are what are their likely starters. 7, 2, 3, 6, and 9 is not very clean. They don't have 6. 3, 6, 7, 4, and 1 is not completely clean, but we have to have it covered. Have to have that covered. And then there's just lots of the combinations of the 7, 6, 6s. So 6, 6, 3, 7, let's start with that. If they started with that in 9, they don't have 8. If they started with that in 7, they do have both squares. But as long as I have a 7 in each direction. But I'll leave a secondary note on that. 6, 6, 3, 7, 7 is possible. 2, 6, 6, 7 in 3, they do have both recaptures. Probably less desirable than 3, 6, 7, 4, and 1, just because it uses a more powerful card. 2, 6, 6, 7 in 1, they also have captures. Again, I think that's less likely, but possible. And then 6, 7, 6, 3 can land in 1 or 7. If it goes in 1, they don't have the recaptures. If it goes in 7, they do, but I think this is pretty unlikely. I think the most important things to be able to cover are 3, 6, 7, 4, and 1, and 2, 6, 7, 7 in 3. So that's all the notes I think I'm going to take on their hand for now. Once we build a hand, we will start looking at matchups. But I think, at least I hope, so first of all, because of sudden death, hands are going to become mixed up rather quickly. So if, game 2 is going to be a just different game, right? And it's going to be new cards, and I'm not going to try predicting which cards will swap or anything like that. Like, I just, I want to get the best chance I have game 1, even if, hopefully you get the win there. But if you don't get the win, hopefully you can, set up to have taken useful cards for the next game. Maybe I should think about what those would be, but in general, it's just going to be like try to grab more of the level 5s. But often that's just going to be available in endgame calculations. I'm not going to try to, until turn 6, I'm not going to try to finesse holding better cards, maybe as a tiebreaker, maybe as a kind of, I like both these moves, and one uses a level 4 that will clearly get captured, and one uses a level 5 that will clearly get captured. Maybe in those spots you lean towards using the level 4. Maybe you don't even, because cards that stay in your... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you lean towards stuff that specifically, like, locks in level 5s rather than locks in level 4s. Maybe it's a tiebreaker, but you should just be... It's tricky. I think turn 6, you start thinking about stuff like that. So let's get into building my own hand. We've been going a while. So we're going to be FF8 and 9, level 4 and 5. Whatever hand I pick here definitely won't be final, because I do plan to talk about things with my, my team. But let's start with level 5s, because I'm going to want to pick the level 4s around the level 5s. Now, there's a pretty strong top 3 that's entirely from FF9. There are 2 swap-ins potentially. 6627 instead of 6736. One downside is it's a second 7 to the left rather than a 7 in a specific direction. It is worse at picking up 7s, but better at picking up 6s. And we do know they have 2 6s facing down, but they have 2 7s facing to the left, so 6627 not picking up anything extra there. Yeah, I mean, 6736 seems a little better to me in general, and better to me in this matchup. And better with the rest of my cards. The other swap, which I'm less sure about which way I want to go, is 6367 versus 6267. Um, Behemoth versus Elastoid. Argument for Behemoth is they have three sixes to the right. So if I can put the game on the left, Behemoth might just destroy them, right? So my big question I'm going to put in my notes is 6367 or 6267. So I think this is the closest call. Because they have two sixes up and two sixes down in their hand, and I know I'm going to have another six facing up from 6736 or even 6627. So there's a bunch for 6267 to play off, but 6367 can play off their sixes to the right. They have three sixes to the right, and this innately grabs combos there. Now, it grabs combos that can potentially be comboed back, but it grabs a lot of combos there. That seems the one downside to it. Ooh, this is a reason he's probably even more likely. The more I think about this, the more I think the hand we picked for him is just going to be the hand. 7236 and 3674 both have plus walls from up together, have plus walls from above and below 6367 and his 6763. So they provide good coverage of this card, which I'm definitely going to use, and he knows I'm going to use it. So, and that's true whether I use 6267 or 6367. But this gives a little more coverage of sevens, which could be tricky to take. Though actually, if we look at the starters I'm worried about, 3674 and 1 it doesn't take. 2667 and 3 it doesn't take. 2667 and 1 it doesn't take. 6637 and 7 it doesn't take. 67. Yeah, he's never starting with a 7 up or down, I don't think. Maybe 7236 and 7. I didn't write that as a note. That's worth covering. Because 3674 covers that well, and it's sort of a half-strong starter. And he did say recently he likes half-strong starters. But this doesn't cover that either. So I'm not sure there's anything 6367 covers that 6267 doesn't, but my instinct is always to start with 6367, and their three sixes to the right is a really strong indicator that's the way to go. So I think this is our baseline level 5 setup. Okay. So we need two level 4s to go with it. What's our current directionality? We have a lot of 6s facing up. We need stuff that's not 6s facing up. That's actually where this gets tricky. This might have been why he ended up not liking his FF8, FF9 hand. Because we do not have a 7 up. And the appealing cards to use here do not have 7s up. We have 766 to the left. That's going to be decent variety with our last two cards, but we don't really need more left. We have 763 down, and we have 763 right. So fundamentally, we need a 7 facing up, and we don't need leftward power. So 2763 is very possible. But what's our 7 facing up? And can we go without a 7 facing up? Well, we need coverage of 3674 and 1. And, 2676 is 2 beautifully, but we don't have 4. 2667 and 3, we don't have coverage of either side of that right now. We would if we had a 7 up. Or if we switch 6367 to 6267. 7236 and 7, we don't have coverage of. Of the appealing cards here, the stuff that jumps out at me is 2367, 2763, 3672, 1764, and 6147. Let's see how many of them, if any of them, cover potential starters. 36741, I need coverage of that 7. None of those give it. 6273 does, but that's another 6 facing up. Okay. 2667 in 3. Do any of those give coverage from 2? A 7 up would solve the problem. No, we don't have coverage from 2. Okay. 7236 and 7. We do not have coverage from 4. 2667 1. We do not have coverage of either direction. Again, a 7 up would help. 66377 we have from 6, but not from 8. And 67637 we have from both. Okay, and well from 8. Huh. Okay. Which of these give coverage of any of that? 2367 in 2367 gives coverage of none of that? Yeah, none of that. 2763 gives coverage of 7236 and 7. And nothing else. Okay, but that's something. 3672 gives, we already have a 7 facing down. That grabs 7s to the left, so it can get 2, 6, 6, 7, and 3. So that also grabs one thing. Both of those are appealing because I'm fine having, giving up some left power. I already have a lot. 6, 6, 3, 7, 7. Okay. So that helps grab 2, 6, 6, 7, and 1. While 2, 7, 6, 3 helps grab 7, 2, 3, 6, and 7. I did put 7, 2, 3, 6, 7 in a higher priority slot when I just put it in, because I thought that looked a little scarier. Now I'm not so sure. Okay, so one of 2, 7, 6, 3 or 3, 6, 7, 2. I'm going to put 2, 7, 6, 3 or 3, 6, 7, 2. And then I think I need a 7 up. 7, 3, 1, 6 or 7, 4, 4, 4. Those are my options. 7, 5, 4, 3, 7, 2, 4, 5. Now I think 7, 3, 1, 6 and 7, 4, 4, 4 are the better choices there. All right. Case for 7316. It's a 7-6 corner. There might not be a ton of 6s. There are so many 6s to the left. Not having that be a 2 really does hurt. Sorry, 6s to the right. We know there are 3 6s to the right in his hand. Yeah, that gives up a lot of value. But it's still like the 7-6 corner available. 7-4-4-4 is kind of interesting because it guarantees we have the up captures. And the 4-4-4 is always like terrible with same, but not so bad with plus, right? With same remove, maybe that's a better card. Okay. So I'm gonna try this guy. 3672 is easier for 2676 to recapture. That has some synergies. They both can take 6s facing up. My instinct's 2763, but maybe we'll probably try a few iterations of this hand. 3672 makes a lot of sense, though. Okay, let's try 3672. Okay, so now we can look at how the hands match up. And we can think about what we'd want to do here. So, potential starters I identified for them as possibly scary. 3, 6, 7, 4, and 1. At this point, our hand has that covered really well. We have secure plus walls in both 2 and 4, which kind of gives us free reign to do whatever we want. But actually, maybe we want to just take it to Rama in 4, because their recaptures in 2 both have that 6 facing to the left, to the right that we combo from 3, because Behemoth is really good there. Okay, so I don't think they want 1. 2, 6, 6, 7 in 3. Well, 3672 gives an 8 coverage of that and 2. So it's possible I could just take from 2. Their recapture in 67236 gives me a plus in 5. Not sure that's great for me, but it's hard for it to be too bad for me. Also, oh, they have the plus in 5 as well. I was thinking I might not have to go 5, I could also go 1. But that seems like promising for me. I can attack it pretty easily. If I had, let's think about the comparisons. If I had 6267, I would have better innate coverage of that. If I had 2763 instead of 3672, that might be less comfortable. 3672 looking better here. Okay. Um, 7236 and 7 was the next move I listed. We did not give ourselves an 8 coverage. 2763 would have had an 8 coverage. Hmm. Okay. But if 7236 there, what about 6737 in 8? If they recapture from 4 with 3674, we go 9 pretty safely, and like I feel like that must be favorable for us. And we might not even have to go 9. Our card in 8's just sitting there safe after their card comes out of their hand. They could also play 3, 6, 7, 4, and 5 instead of 4, but that card's overworked, right? If it goes 5, I guess we don't have safety in 4, and they do actually set up a threat in 4. That's kind of interesting. That's a little bit scary. Huh. That's a weird line. 72367, 67368, 36745. That might be bad for me. Okay, so 72367. H just feels like a really good square for me, but maybe it isn't. Could I go 5? 5 might be appealing, because if I then can go an 8 next turn, that's pretty good. But I don't have good play in 4, is what we just learned. I don't have good play in 4. Mm. That's tricky. Okay, that's a tough starter. 2, 6, 6, 7, and 1. We have such good. Would that be an easier starter? That would be an easier starter with 2, 7, 6, 3 instead. Then 2, 6, 6, 7, and 3 is our problem. Okay. 2, 6, 6, 7 in 1. We have such good play in 2. I think we just take from 2 there. Yeah, their recap is not great. Okay. 6, 6, 3, 7 in 7. And even if we don't take immediately, as long as we like have the capture and the capture's okay, other stuff tends to be as well. 6, 6, 3, 7 in 7. Feels like I can take that. Maybe either way. Because they're only recapture in 8, I have the combo in 9. And if I take um, from 8 with 6, 3, 6, 7, they're only recapture in 4. I have a plus in 5 with Tarama. Tarama might be good. Tarama might be good. And 6, 7, 6, 3, and 7. Probably can take from 8. Probably can take from 8. Not necessarily sure, though. Okay. Let's look at the other hand. I'm gonna make 2 changes just to get a better sense. We're gonna go you, and we're gonna go you and you. Hopefully it orders so we can see them. Nice, okay. All right, so let's look through their starters again. Sorry if this video is taking forever and not interesting, but preparation's interesting. 3, 6, 7, 4 in 1, we still have very good coverage of. 2, 6, 6, 7 in 3, we have improved our coverage in 6, but given up our coverage in 2. But because we've improved our coverage in 6, maybe we can play something like bomb in 1 there, setting up multiple cards in 2. We have lots of cards for 6, which means we also have Tarama for 4 if we need recaptures there, but we don't ever need recaptures there because they can't capture bomb from 2. Okay, that seems better, actually. And that was the square we were giving up play against. 7, 2, 3, 6, and 7. We have bomb in 4 if needed, which hopefully gives us freedom to go elsewhere. I still think if we go 8, they might have 5, which is very annoying. So we probably can't go 8. But we might have somewhere else. They did give up their 7 up. Maybe bomb in 1 is just safe. Bomb has a 7 to the right. Yeah, so we know a 7 right and 1 can be safe. 7 down and 3 we already have in our hand. 7 up and 9. All right, 7, 3, 1, 6 would have a better chance to be safe in 9. So maybe we should be switching to Rama for 7, 3, 1, 6. I think I like bomb though. I think like being able to meet 7, 2, 3, 6 with bomb in 1. That gives up my capture in 4, but like I don't think they're going in 8 there. I don't think they're going in 8 and saying you don't have 4 because they don't have 2 and they don't even have 5. Okay. 2, 6, 6, 7 in 1. Still pretty good coverage of that. 6, 6, 3, 7 in 7. I'm getting tired. Without Behemoth, we can't combo stuff as much. Because 6, 3, 6, 7 is some combos. So maybe Behemoth is the choice, not Elastoid. I was leaning Behemoth. I just did think there might be lines where the 6 is up and down. But we'll have one more thing to do after this check. And the last starter is 6, 7, 6, 3, and 7. That's pretty well covered. Not quite as well as last time, but pretty well covered. Okay. Next question, what's my starters? So let's look at all 3 hands. First hand, what is my starter against his hand? 3, 6, 7, 2, and 1. He has really well covered in 4. I have covered well in both squares, right? There is clear upside to this. And he actually doesn't have a good threat in 2. I'm going to make a note. 1.0, possibly 36721. He has it really well covered from 4, but he has genuine problems taking it from 2. Can he set up to take it better from 2? Yeah, probably. No, I don't like this starter. Okay. All right. 7444, the square it could naturally go, annoyingly for him, is 9. Could that be a good starter? Yes. Though I think it gives him pretty comfortable play in 1. I think it gives up a lot of power. Okay. 6736 in 7. I don't have to recap in 8. 6736 in 9. Feels like he has just as comfortable stuff as I do. My recap in 8 is not good. Okay, we lost our place for a sec there. We have to pause. But there's also 67637. No, I'm looking at starters for me. Right, okay. I think I was on 26763 next, but they have good coverage of that. 6367 somewhere. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to start with this hand. Like I probably end up playing 3672 and 1, and saying you have great coverage in 4, but not as good coverage in 2. And if you go something like 2667 and 3, setting yourself up for 2, then maybe I can go 26762. You have a lot of L's to choose between there. I think I'm conceding too many L's there. Not very promising. Okay. I don't see a starter I love with that hand, and I want to find a starter I love. Alright, so let's move to hand 1.1. 2676, I'm pretty confident this won't have a good starter. Same for 67636 and 6267. Same for 7444. So, okay, let's look at 2763. 2763 and 1, we know they can't take the 7. And it's actually tough for them to set up against the 7. They have no way to do so from 3. Can they do so through 5? I don't think so. So that 7's really tough for them. Now, notably, I cannot take that 7 either. But given how strong that is, I think we gotta look like a little deeper in on this, because we have this really big threat to follow up in 4. So, like, gotta consider it. So we go 1. I don't think they have setups. Did we give up captures on something? Maybe if they go 72369, we feel bad that we gave up our capture in 8. So maybe Elastoid should be 6367. This probably works better if Elastoid is 6367. So in your head, switch Elastoid for Behemoth. Or just we'll switch back and forth depending on which is useful. So 27631, I think they should take from 4. Seems like if they don't do that, I go 4 and I should be good. They take. Do we have anything there? We have safety in 7. That's not nothing, right? We're up, or it's 5-5. How good can that L be? The reason I'm not immediately discarding this is because I kind of think we have really good sweepers going left there. And especially if we have Behemoth in our hand, like, we successfully filled the left row. And they have so many 6s to the right, and in fact, with 7-2-3-6 out of their hand, they only have one card that isn't a 6 to the right. Okay, I mean, this is... I don't know. This is a little sketchy, but, like, I didn't find any starters I liked. So 27631, 72364, 67367. So we took advantage of their difficulty taking sevens. And when the 7236 came out of their hand, as it also did when we looked at starters for them in 7, 6736 became really powerful. So 6736 lands in 7. Now, I think their main move there has to be 5. That's kind of hard to go 5. If they play 3, 6, 7, 4, and 5, Tarama has 8. If they play 6, 6, 3, 7, 5, then Marlboro has 2. If they play 2, maybe they have that one. Okay. If they play 6, 7, 6, 3, 5, then Marlboro has 2. And they don't have 8 in reply because there's no same, and 7, 2, 3, 6 is out of their hand. We might be getting some. We might be getting somewhere. 2, 6, 6, 7, and 5, though. If we had Behemoth there, I'm not sure we could do it immediately because they can combo back in 3, but we might have 6. So maybe, again, Behemoth works better. Oh, you know what's funny? 2, 6, 7, 6, and 3 gives Elastoid 2 and 6. So there's a line where Elastoid's better. I'm not sure that's worth relying on. But if that's the case, then we have anything they can do in 5 weirdly well covered there. And like Behemoth covers as well, not as well, but it still makes a big threat in 6 that's hard for them to deal with. So okay, 5 is really scary for them. So they probably have to go for the L. Now the L should be good for them. But again, this is the first thing I looked at that seemed promising. So we're gonna stick with it. Bomb 1, Dinosaur 4, Yawn 7, something 2. What goes in 2? Well, there's a lot of cards that can go in 2, is our answer. If Behemoth 2, then I think we take it with Tarama in 5. They've given up the card that would have a plus in 8, and they can't recapture from 3, and we have pretty good cards for the end. Okay, so I think that's not good. If they go 2, 6, 6, 7 in 2, they can't recapture that from 5, so I think we go 2, 6, 7, 6, 3, and we should be pretty good. If they go 6, 6, 3, 7, 2, this might be a spot where we want Elastoid. 6, 6, 3, 7. 6, 6, 3, 7 and 3, 6, 7, 4 seem like the harder moves. Okay, 6, 6, 3, 7, 2. I think at this point we have to block 5. Or do we? I'm starting to lose what I'm calculating. Alright, so let's look at the line again. Bomb 1, Dino 4, Yawn 7. I have Marlboro, Elastoid or Behemoth, and Tarama left. 6, 6, 3, 7, 2. Gives them a plus in 5 with 3, 6, 7, 4. Maybe not a plus they can take. Because if 3, 6, 7, 4 ever lands in 5s, Tarama hits an 8. I think to deadly effect. So maybe we just go 3 there. We go like 2, 6, 7, 6, and 3. They can also play 6, 7, 6, 3, and 5, though. And I think we got nothing. Okay, so not 3. Can we go 5? What would we put in 5? Maybe 2, 6, 7, 6, actually? That's almost safe to their hand. What about 62675? 62675. We don't give them 8. They don't have anything for 8. 7236 is out of their hand. Anything they put in 6, or in 3, we take with a 7444. And 2676 actually is like pretty good on the bottom. Because we're up 6-4. That might be promising. Okay, I think that line's encouraging for me. And the card I was worried about, so I spent the most time delaying getting to it. 3, 6, 7, 4, and 2. Setting up a 2, 6, 7, 6, and 5. Incidentally, this is really good practice for me trying to calculate at distance without saying. Like, it's really important to remember, like, if 2, 6, 6, 7 lands in 5, I don't have a same with 6, 2, 6, 7 in 8. So what I'm trying to do is get used to calculating long lines without same. So even if this line has nothing to do with what I play here, really worth thinking about. I've also lost track of whether Elastoid or Behemoth is my preference. I think it's Behemoth, but there was that one line where Elastoid was good. I don't remember what it was, but it said it and Malboro comboed well to do something. Don't actually remember what. I'll rewind the tape after and figure it out, but I think at this point we're thinking Behemoth, not Malboro. Okay. 3, 6, 7, 4, and 2. So our line is Bomb 1, 7, 2, 3, 6, 4, Yawn 7, 3, 6, 7, 4, 2. Setting up 2, 6, 6, 7 in 5. Do we have combo play against 2, 6, 7, 6, and 5? We do if we want to. Yeah, they might not be able to do that. Say we go 2, 6, 7, 6, and 1, going up 6, 4, they kind of have to go 5, right? And if they go 2, 6, 6, 7, and 5, they go up 6, 4. But we've set up a combo for Elastoid in 6, and they can't combo back. Bomb 1 might be a good starter. Because if they can't take, it's really dangerous for them. And they can take, and normally that would be good for them, right? We each get a card kind of locked in. They get 1, I get 7, and 4 is up in the air, but they have kind of open access to it. But I think we actually have decent control of that endgame, right? I think like Elastoid or Behemoth is really good facing the action. 2, 6, 7, 6 clearly is playing pretty well, usually finds a square. Tarama does just enough to get out of the way. Bomb 1. It's an idea. And I didn't see any other starters I liked. If we switch to Rama for 7316, does that make sense as a starter? I still don't have it defended at 9. So I think I switch Elastoid for Behemoth, and I run the Bomb hand. And I try to play 2, 7, 6, 3, and 1. Because the thing I got to is, if they don't go 4, I think it's very promising. I think, like, yeah, I have this threat to go in 4, and they just can't set up against that 7. And if they do go 4, 7 is weirdly tricky for them. And maybe that they have so many options is actually good for me. They have so many moves in 2 and 5, because it means there's a lot of stuff to try to think about and get misled on. And just the question has to be, am I losing? And I think I can't be. I have this principle of, like, if your starter is captured, so like say 1-4, and you can go in 7 safely, and 1 and 4 are vulnerable, second turn is up 6-4, but with 2 things to defend, and first turn is down 4-6, but has a safe card on board, that's usually a fairly balanced game. Now, in this, they get a safe card in 1, and we're not down 6-4. Us not being down 6-4 doesn't matter too much because whoever goes in 5 will just flip 4 anyway. They have a safe card, but if they can't grab a second card, they have to settle for the L. And if none of the L's are that good, because I have safety in 3 and it's hard for them to go in 5, then it's clunky for them. Or if they go 2, I have ways to go in 5 that are clunky for them because they never have 8. I think I like this idea. I think I like this idea. This is I was thinking a bit about, actually there were 2 matches I've been thinking about a bunch as kind of inspiration. One was some stuff Tezuka did in TTAC that I thought was really interesting, and especially his finals. But I think there was another round too. But his kind of weak corner starter in the finals, where he just had combo play against everything after, despite it not really setting stuff up, was really interesting. Really well played game by Tezuka. Really interestingly thought out. If you're ever looking for inspiration, go check out that game because I think it's one of the. I'm gonna make another video about it at some point. I think it's a really interesting game. It was quite inspirational to my semifinals. Um, but the other thing I was thinking about was the quarterfinals. This quarterfinals against Delhi, um, trying to attack positions. There was regularly stuff where he played a corner, I took it, and he completed the line. So games that started 7-8-9. And often in those games, I had a little initiative, right? But because the numbers were low, I had 3 cards to attack, so I could choose between L's or going in 5 with the kind of Tetris piece setup. And so I had a ton of optionality and fairly powerful cards to do so with. And yet, I still don't think I was really pushing for much in any of those games. I think it was pretty balanced. And I got what I think was fundamentally worse versions or better versions for second turn than what's here, and I don't think I got much. So maybe first turn is good play there. Maybe the starter sack has promise against this exact hand. I would also like to point out a backup plan. I think bomb in 3 is a decent backup. It's pretty easy for me to recapture. Not that easy. I kind of have to use Tarama, and then I give up 1. Alright, well, bomb 3, something to keep in mind. That 6 is a little tricky for them. But maybe not tricky enough. Yeah. Okay, well, this has been going on long enough. My big idea is bomb in 1 and playing the 1.1 hand, but with Behemoth. I'm gonna put that in. I may well change what I want to do before the match, but I wanted to get down my thoughts and also just like try calculating lines, right? And trying to remember that same is not an effect. So what's our hand? Our hand is Marlboro, Jan, Behemoth, Tarama, and I think Bomb. And yeah. Am I too focused on this specific opposing hand? Maybe, but if we have the tools to deal with this, this is just the most kind of power his hand can bulk into it. I'm not sure there's anything else that would be more worrisome. And I don't mind Tarama. There were a whole bunch of lines Tarama looked good in. That'd be an interesting card to use. It does feel like I got the best decks. I should have more powerful cards. And if you look at the cards here, he may have gotten the better of it, right? We both have a 6-7-6-3. We both have a 7-6-6-3. We both have a 7-6-6-2. I think mine is a little bit better configuration. We both have a 7-6-3-2, and he has a 7-6-4-3 where I have a 7-4-4-4. So I think, and yeah, I think there's a good case that he got the advantage here. But I think with this hand, as I recall, when I scanned the starters, I felt like I had tools against each. The scariest is now 2, 6, 6, 7, and 3, now that I switched out Elastoid. Maybe that's why we need Elastoid. Do we need Elastoid? Maybe. What do we do against 2, 6, 6, 7, and 3? Maybe we take it with Tarama. Take it with Tarama if they go 3, 6, 7, 4 in 2. Bomb 1. Dinosaur 4. That's ugly. Maybe we need 6, 2, 6, 7. Because if we have 6, 2, 6, 7, then we have 6 so comfortably. I may have said 4 instead of 6. I meant 6. Capturing from 6 with Tarama. But if we have Elastoid, yeah, if we have Elastoid, my idea was to go in 1. Without Elastoid, it's clunkier. Alright, well, my suspicion is I will run one of these hands. But also, we thought about the rule set differently, and I think he got the advantage out of that. I think he outmaneuvered me in hand thinking. So, hopefully, spending this hour here, I can get some of that edge back. But yeah, nicely drafted by him.